Cherry's three. Johnny Walker. Mashing up against control. His shot. Blue score. They score. They tie the game up 2-2. Some drives out for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. This is Taya Hansen for three. Other side of the rim with a pretty reverse. Wow. 5 seconds to go. By Hawk. Hawk spins. It rolls on. And Arizona State wins it. Edwards pulls off. And buries the front. Daniels takes the shot for three.
Welcome into Pitchfork Lunch. Yes, I am Michael Caratino at Diablo00 on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, where you can see the show. Also Facebook and on YouTube, Pitchfork Lunchers. You know it. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Again, you've missed it. If you've missed anything, you can go there. See, look at this. Shout out. Bam. Look at this. That's the garb for today as we're mixing it up. But, oops. I put my hat on straight. There we go. But yes, YouTube, M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat 005 on YouTube. Go there, subscribe. You can check out old shows. You've missed a ton of interviews. I do know that much. You've missed a ton of interviews. Great interviews. Different people that we've caught up with. And yeah, we will have more. So go to the YouTube at MVC005. M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat 005 on YouTube and subscribe. Check out all the old shows. You can binge watch it over the holidays and catch up. But yeah, so do that. And we're getting started today. The volleyball season comes to an end in the Sweet 16 against Stanford. The women, they it was such a good match. It was, and Stanford won in 4. ASU took the first set. But the ASU took the first set, and then Stanford took the next 3. But I mean, it was just. The defense, Mary Schroll last night did what she did all season. It was just amplified in the Sweet 16 and what she's meant to this team all year. And again, finishing 28-7, second most wins in program history. And man, I just, again, loved covering this team. What JJ Van Niel did in his first year, I know I've talked about it, but yeah, I mean, it just, it was a delayed start to the match. And I was wondering who would, if it would affect either team. Yes, they are athletes or competitors, but usually when you're scheduled, I mean, obviously you're not getting delayed. Well, the Tennessee-Texas matchup before that was about 3 hours. I think they said in 13 minutes, 3 hours and 15 minutes, something like that. And that match didn't start. The ASU Stanford match didn't start till at least half an hour after it was supposed to. It was supposed to start at 8:30. Well, 9:30 here in Arizona, but 8:30 local time. And I want to say it started at like a little bit after 9, almost 9:15. And I mean, it didn't end there until after when they finished post game, it was after midnight. So yeah, it was a full day. I mean, again, a lot of awesome volleyball that was played. But yeah, I mean, Stanford, it was like I said, it was a exciting matchup. I mean, ASU got off to a very good start. They did force Stanford into quite a few well, there was a few service errors that Stanford had, and in the first set, and I mean, defensively, look, they did what they did all year. Of course, spearheaded by Mary Schroll, because I mean, it was she made plays like this all season, but getting to see it there in the Sweet 16, especially against a Stanford team in which um, was it Kendall Kipp said it after the game um, that it's like we knew they were a really good team, and yeah, the teams like I talked about split the season series, and when you look at it like that, yes, it was 3-0 in Palo Alto, then it was 3-0 in Tempe, and then back, in Palo Alto for the rubber match. Because Stanford is the number one seed in the host school. But yeah, I mean, it was the first set. I mean, the start the Devils got off to. Was again just absolutely awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it was 25-22 ASU in the first, and then 25-21 Stanford in the second, 25-20 Stanford in the third, and then 25-21 Stanford in the fourth. And I mean, the first set, it was neither team could, like I said, get on a run, an extended run, I should say. Um, um, and in the first set, I mean, when you notice it, it's one of those things where they're going back and forth, and nobody again. I mean, it was 1 point, 2 points. I think at the most, maybe 3, and then yeah, I mean 25-22 against it was the first set, and ASU took it, and it's man, I mean, but I will say this in the third set, Stanford did pull away a little bit. ASU fought off quite a few set points, and I thought, okay, that can catapult them into the third, and it did. But Stanford again just made a few more plays. I mean, Kendall Kipp, like I said, 23 kills last night. Elia Rubin had 19. Katie Baird had 10. For ASU, again, Marta Levinska, a teeny bit slow in the first set, but man, 17 kills. Jelly Sear, a match for her as well. 16 kills. Roberta Habello, 5. They had 5 aces to Stanford's 7. So again, second time this season, Stanford did out ace them, but again, not by much. But they did out ace them, and I mean, look at, blocks wise. Stanford had 12, ASU had 10. I mean, Claire Jeter had 6 huge blocks. Maddie McLaughlin, too. Few timely kills as well for Maddie McLaughlin, who played a heck of a game. Jelly Sear had 3 blocks. Shannon Shields had 38 assists. Stroll with 5. Levinsko with 2. And then Mary Stroll had 30 digs. Katie Baird had 17. But, I mean, and Elena Oglive had 15. And Elliot Rubin 15. But, yeah, I mean, Mary Stroll, 30 digs. I mean, like – honestly, if they do a region team, and it's not just because of that performance. I mean, it's all 3 performances stacked up. But Mary Schroll, easily the libero of the region, might not be advancing to the Elite 8, and Stanford will take on Texas. But man, I mean, it was just. I mean, neither team both teams kept each other from hitting great. ASU hit 190, but Stanford hit 217. Yes, that is more. I know, pitchfork launchers. You're saying, well, Captain Obvious. But in volleyball, and I know I saw a great comment on Twitter last night from a friend of the program, Chris Cartman, saying, I don't know much about volleyball, but Marta Levinska looks really good. Well, yeah, she is really good, as is Kendall Kipp. But I mean, for Stanford to just hit 217, I mean, 2 of their not so good hitting performances are against ASU this year. And I mean, they hit like what, it was 194 when they were in Tempe the first time, something like that. And then ASU hit 125 in Palo Alto the first time. Now they hit 190. But I mean, man, well, Jeff Metcalf was right. He said it wasn't going to go 3, and it went 4, and they were going to be very close. But he was right. And I mean, look, Stanford made adjustments. Cammie Minor, their setter, again, who had 53 assists. I mean, they ran a good offense. There was a few times that some blocks were one-on-one, and it gave Stanford the advantage. I mean, like I said, Kendall Kipp with 23 kills. But I mean, you had her with Kipp with 23, Rubin with 19, and then Levinska with 17, Sear with 16. So, I mean, both teams just going back and forth. And, yeah, I mean, Stanford in the third set definitely was the one where they, went on a little run separated. But, man, it's whew. I mean, it was an awesome match to watch. Yeah, definitely wanted it to turn out the other way. But I mean, just the season. And I mean, like I said, for it to be highlighted there, Mary Schroll, I mean, some of the digs she made last night, and again, not that you want to relive it, but if you didn't see the match, I suggest if you have ESPN Plus, you go back and watch the replay on it'll be on ESPN Plus. I'm guessing it would be there. They have in the past, and I don't know, but I'm guessing it is. I didn't look, but I didn't look, but I'm guessing yeah, I mean, it ended about 1:05 a.m. here local time. So that's, again, they were supposed to start at 8:30 there. They didn't start till after 9. And yeah, it was very like I said, exciting. But if you're ASU and looking at what JJ Van Niel did in his first year, yes, you finished 28-7 overall, 14-6 in the pack. Yes, we lose some key components, and it is kind of a bummer. But what this team can do going forward, and I mean, Mary Stroll obviously came as a grad transfer, so what are you gonna do at libero? Obviously, Shannon Shields, a phenomenal season she had as well, and then Marta Levinska, Maddie McLaughlin. It's one of those things where I mean, you do have players that got experience, and the one thing uh I mean, Estella Zateca will be back. Jaden Rabbit, well, they can be back. I'm not gonna. I'm saying projected to be back. How about we go with that? Um, Stella Zateca, Ravensborg, um, Shania Cromartie, uh, Olivia Johnson, Jelly Sear, Jillian Neal. It says Habella's a senior. I have to find out. Um, um, Meadow Cooper, and then Maddie McLaughlin, obviously being a grad student. So it'll be interesting. But Coach Van Neal, I mean, with this season, you definitely kickstart recruiting and getting players you want in. So it'll be interesting to see. But anyway, well, I'll get more into obviously the match last night against Stanford. Outside of, yes, Mary Schroll was phenomenal, and this team, I mean, just embodied what this team did all year. And yeah, there was a few service errors, and um, um, but I mean, yeah, I mean, Shannon Shields hit, I mean, the best last night at 273. Levinska hit 234. Jelly Sear, I mean, at 16 kills, hit 167. But yeah, it's a team that hit 190. And you look at, the five aces. Stroll had one, Jeter had one, Levinska had one, Sear had one, and Jaden Ravensborg had one. To Stanford's 7, like I said. But I mean, just how they played all year, how they adjusted, battled back, made in-match adjustments. I mean, that's obviously to JJ Van Neal and his staff doing a great job there. So it ends, the magical run ends last night in Stanford as they fell, like I said, 3-1. And yeah, 3-1. They fell to Stanford. Also going on today, we do have some women's basketball, the matinee style, in about 40 minutes. So when the show wraps up, hopefully you'll head over there to check on out the 7-2 Lady Sun Devils as Coach Natasha Adair and her team will be taking on crosstown rivals, I guess you could say, crosstown foes. Grand Canyon is coming to Desert Financial Arena. So, yes, that tips off like 105. And the Grand Canyon right now, they are They are 6-2, by the way. already played 2 conference games. They're 4-2 at home and 2-0 away. So they have not lost away. Interesting. They beat Benedictine 90-40, but then they took on St. Mary's and they held on to win 55-52. They beat North Dakota 73-61. They lost to Oregon for the other Pac-12 team they've played. And of course, obviously ASU, we'll get to them later. But they lost to Oregon 64-56. Lost to Montana, close one by 5, 76-71. They beat Fresno State 55-36. And kind of not laughing at that, I'm saying struggled shooting for Fresno State and defense. I mean, both teams probably struggle a little bit shooting there. And then they beat Nichols 63-40. I just saw in the GCU Classic over Thanksgiving. And then UT Rio Grande Valley, they beat 63-50, and then they beat UT Arlington 77-48 this past Saturday. So they are taking on the Devils today at 1 p.m. But again, we'll talk a little bit more about that. Later on. But yeah, no, I mean, this ASU team, like I said, coming off the loss to Texas, 84-42. But since then, they've won 3 in a row, and unfortunately, didn't get to play Xavier because they didn't have enough healthy players. So that, I mean, obviously sucks for Xavier. It's terrible. But they did beat Pacific, so they have won 3 in a row and looking to extend it to 4. And yeah, they take on, after that, they have a 9-day break, and then they will take on Arizona at Desert Financial at 5 p.m. on Sunday the 17th. So, yep, that is their schedule coming up. But like I said, very excited for this team. I mean, Jaden Simmons logged quite a few minutes, but getting into her groove. And Jeff Metcalf talked about it. And we'll have him on again, obviously, as basketball season goes into flow. Also, the WNBA lottery is coming up. So definitely got to have Jeff on after that, because I love talking to him at Mercury Games and picking the brain. And, with NIL and stuff, especially on the women's side, like, might almost be worth it to stay another year. But I don't know. I as a competitor, having played, I get it. And it's one of those things where, and it's not just because like women's basketball, I'm saying football. I always hear, stories came out all season long, and I touched on it a little bit here about, certain guys staying, even though not, ASU, but, guys staying in college because of what they're making NIL deals more than they're going to make. It's like, as a competitor, I just think that speaks more volumes of you. And yes, if you're talented, will you get drafted? Yes, we all know the answer to that is a resounding, emphatic yes. But I think it'll rub some coaches and teams the wrong way. And I mean, get both sides. You're not gonna rip on somebody for making money, right? But on the other side, it's like, come on, you're like, do you not want to play pro ball? Like, if it's just about that, like, how much work are you going to put in? And yes, that's all the background research that goes into it. I mean, being lucky enough to get to talk to some scouts out at ASU football practice. I mean, different teams are there almost every practice. But yeah, it's one of those things where where I like I see both. I mean, you see both sides, right? But at the same time, and like I said, I'm not just giving an example because of the women's game. I'm talking about, I mean, football, obviously, for guys, men's hoops as well too. Like, if you can stay in school and you're going to make more money than you would like that next year out, why not stay for one more year? But again, I just it's a balance of each. So, and I'm not saying that they're not fired up, motivated competitors, like going to obviously putting the work in, going to grind and all that stuff. I'm not saying that at all. It's just what message. Again, it's the whole cat and mouse game with the teams. But anyway, I digress. Women's hoops today, though, as they get set to take on Grand Canyon at 105. So we're going to wrap up, and then the game will tip off. So very and you can catch the game on the ASU live stream and 1440 a.m. Local if you're driving around. So again, it will be a very again, like I said, Grand Canyon, it's gonna be a tough matchup for them. So, but 7-2, have not dropped a match at home, so let's keep it up. Let's go, coach, team. But yeah, I'll get into that a little bit later too. But yeah, so I'm gonna step aside. And then, hockey is also playing, by the way. I did forget to mention that hockey, they, who are doing very, very well, the 12th ranked team in the country, and they are hosting Dartmouth. They are 11-3-2 overall. And they're 10-2-0 at home and 1-1-2 away. Haven't had any neutral site games yet, but they are coming off. Again, they split with number 9. Well, Providence was number 7 when they played them, I thought. Or it says number 9, but fine, number 9. They beat them 4-3 in overtime and then lost 2-1. Colorado College, they had a 2-2 tie. And then they beat Colorado College 2-0 on the road last week. And now tonight at 7 p.m., they take on Dartmouth. And it's the first ever meeting between the two. So we'll see what happens. Dartmouth, it's tonight at 7, and then tomorrow night at 5. Tomorrow night at 5 and at Mullet Arena. So again, get on out there, check them out. Great. Coach Powers said I've talked about it, but I mean, they're playing very, very good hockey, and they're building a lot of confidence. And I know it sounds very simple, like, well, they're winning. No, I mean, even from their losses, I mean, you split with the Providence, right, who was ranked. You split with Denver, who was number 2 at the time. You beat him 6-5 in overtime and then lost to him 8-4. Okay. Well, yeah, a lot of goals scored, but you split with the number 2 team. Then you split with the number 9 team. Beating teams that aren't ranked. I mean, they started out with, that was exhibition game, but they put 16 goals up on that team from down south, which not sad to see that, but nonetheless. And then, but Merrimack, they're number 15 now, but they swept them. They beat them 1-0 in overtime, and then they beat them 4-2. Northern Michigan, they beat them 3-2 and 5-1. Miami of Ohio came here. They lost to Miami of Ohio. Okay, they lost 5-4, and then they tied 1-1. And that was on the road. Sorry, wasn't here on the road, but at Miami of Ohio. So they lost 5-4, tied 1-1. Came back for Stonehill, won 5-4 in overtime, then won 3-2. Split, like I said, against Denver. Alaska Anchorage, who's not ranked, 1-4-3, 1-3-0. Split with Providence, like I just said. And then Colorado College. They tied 2-2 last Friday, and then on Saturday, ASU won 2-0. So, I mean, it's a team that, you can tell by the record, like I said, 11-3-2, absolutely rocking it. So we'll get into hockey a little bit later too. But yes, we're going to step aside when I get back. We will dive into the season that was for Sun Devil Volleyball. And it was awesome. And I, again, big fan of it. But we'll dive into the volleyball season that just took them all the way to the Sweet 16. We're, again, just a little bit short against Stanford. So I'll step aside. More action coming up here on Pitchfork Lunch.
All right, back here on Pitchfork Lunch. I am Michael Carrasino at Diablo00 on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter. You can follow me there. Questions, thoughts, interviews you might like to see. A little banter, come on, Pitchfork Lunchers. Let's have some fun. But hit me up on X at Diablos00 where you can see the show, Facebook, and also, the YouTube. Subscribe at M as in Michael, V as in Victory, C as in Cat 005 at MVC005 on YouTube. Volleyball fell 3-1 to Stanford in the Sweet 16. So the rubber match, as they say, both teams won on their home court in the regular season, both in sweeps 3-0, and Stanford won, yes, back on their home court as they are hosting, 3-1 last night after ASU took the first set. Stanford took the next three, like I alluded to off the top of the show. But man, look how this team came so far this season. And from the opening matches at, Mullet Arena to where taking on Arizona and just, coming off of their non-conference, their I would say their concert tour, which had no show dates here in non-conference play. But they returned. They were back here, opening up in Mullet Arena, crushed Arizona, beat Washington, and they were just on their way. And the confidence and just what this team exuded. I talked to Claire Jeter and the work, had her on. Again, if you missed the interview, subscribe to the YouTube channel and you can go back and check it out. But Claire, talking to Claire Jeter, somebody like her, that's just, obviously has a deal with injury. And, even Maddie McLaughlin said, when I talked to her a few times, like, yeah, she's kind of, she could be in a little bit of pain. I know against Oregon State, she got a little bit banged up, but just kind of walked it off and just needed to walk it off. But Maddie's like, yeah, you see her playing through that. Maddie McLaughlin switched positions. She was on the outside and then coach moved her into the middle and she just accepted the challenge head on and had a very solid season, contributed hugely to this, to the ASU success this year. But like someone like Claire Jeter, the way she could serve and her serve, but just what she meant up front, getting those fast, at times getting those quick sets from Shannon Shields and putting it away, and just like how, she led the team by example. I mentioned Maddie McLaughlin, again, switching positions, especially in any sport. Okay, you can always say, I always relate it to no matter what, it's a different mindset.
yes, you want to do your best, but I mean, how you attack a position, certain, intricacies of playing it, right? Whether, it's volleyball going from the outside to the middle, or, in I guess, football, you could say going from, running back to, a receiver, or maybe even going from like receiver to defensive back to receiver, something like that. Like it's a mindset of, yes, you want to, you're going to attack, but it's different mindset on how you play the positions, on, where to attack, things you're looking for. In soccer, I always say, like, going from, if you're a striker, you're playing up front, and then all of a sudden you're, in more of an attacking mid. Yeah, you're still an attacking mid, but it's just the mindset, and you have to adjust to it, but to attack it and flourish in it, because if you show you can obviously flourish in both, huge. And Maddie McLaughlin did that for the team this year. Coach needed her to do it, and she did it. I mean, Marta Levinska obviously playing the opposite on the outside. I mean, Jelly Sear, the season she had on the left side, and again, it started out pretty quick. There was a little bit of a lull, and she talked about it on the show. It was the amount of film she watched with Coach and what she was able to do. What she was able to do, I just like it, and see what she needed to adjust to, attack it, and be that person. I mean, getting the team a lot of huge points. Obviously, Diggs as well too. The way she played defense complimented Mary Schroll when they were in the back row together. Even Marta Levinska as well. Like, yeah, you have the fifth player in Sun Devil volleyball history, in the illustrious 50 years of Sun Devil volleyball. Marta Levinska, the fifth player to get an AVCA Player of the Week, just the fifth. And like I said, I know they don't hand them out like candy on Halloween, like you're trick or treating. I get it, but a lot of great players have come through this program, and again, it just shows, like, yes, the level of volleyball being played. I mean, even in the conference too, obviously, a just plethora of phenomenally uber talented players, great players have come through this conference alone. But, and as the last year of the Pac-12, it would be great to see now Stanford and Oregon are the last two standing, although they would meet in the Final Four. Washington State did fall to Pitt, number one Pitt, yesterday, so their road ended in the Sweet 16. But yeah, I mean, for ASU, Marta Levinska just to be the fifth, like that, to me is like I said, it was mind blowing when I read it. It's still kind of mind blowing that, wow. And yes, it does. If you're going to win it and you're going to have a week again amongst a lot of talent out there, so understandably, just saying, there's been a lot of talent there, but the season that Marta Levinska had, I mean, especially after Asanovich transferred, and how she helped, lead Washington State, obviously, to the Sweet 16 as well for the Cougs. But yeah, I mean, you look at players and what they did, and Coach said, hey, we need to run a faster offense. And, and the first time we talked to Jelly Sear, she talked about that. It's almost like, players always are looking to improve, and you have to embrace your strengths and weaknesses. She's like, yeah, it just seemed like our weaknesses almost, we're in the forefront of our strengths. It's just comparing it from last season. And what Coach Van Niel did coming in and saying, we're going to do this, and he just hammered away at the fast offense. And then, like Jelly said, in watching film, it's like, all right, we're running it slower on when we go to the left, and it started to speed up. She started to swing, take big swings. And not that she wasn't taking big swings before, she was, but taking those swings and delivering. And that was just another person. And Jeff Metcalf and I talked about it on Tuesday, how, I'm mentioning these players, and then you get to Roberta Habella, what she meant on the left side as well too, and big kills, and for this team. And it's like I said, I mean, you play to win and you want to get past that Sweet 16, but it's the first time they actually won 2 games, 2 back-to-back games in this new format. Like Jeff and I said Jeff was telling us on Tuesday, in this format, it's the first time that they won 2 games in a row in this format. And like I said, and to get to the Sweet 16. So yeah, I mean, coach has expectations. I mean, he ran a club volleyball team. Yes, we all know it was talk about he was in, the financial world for 12 years. And I liked in the broadcast last night, they were joking around. He said, well, his wife was he goes, at least she was understanding enough to let me come back to or to obviously get into coaching. He ran club team in San Diego, and then now coaching here at ASU. So look, a phenomenal season. It was tough, like I said last night. On Pearl Harbor Day, by the way, I did forget to mention that yesterday, but history-wise, but yes. But yeah, I mean, they took the first set 25-22 and then fell 25-21, 25-20, and then 25-21. And yeah, I mean, there was a few times there that they had the chance to, get the side out, maybe change that, immediate momentum. Like Stanford, I mean, like I said, Kendall Kipp, 23 kills last night. They kept feeding her. The more they fed her, Marta Levinska got off to the first set, and the first set they won 25-22. And it's just weird. And no, it's not one of those reverse broadcaster psychological blame game things or saying, oh, this is weird. But yeah, Levinska got off to a slow start kill wise in the first set, but they won. And then she ends up, delivering more and more, and 17 kills for her last night. Again, Kipp led out all players in kills with 23. But yeah, I mean, it was, in Stanford, like I said, hit 217, but Kipp, let's see, what did Kipp hit? Kipp hit 291. So Cami Minor, I mean, the setter, she hit 333, but those are from obviously attacks. And then Elia Rubin did hit 341, but yeah, Kipp with the 23 kills. She had 7 errors. But yeah, she hit 291. She also did have an ace. And again, Stanford did have 7. Katie Baird, she delivered 3. And then Cami Minor had 1. Anna Pringle had 1. Elia Rubin had 1. So that was their 7. And then ASU, like I said, had 5. And Mary Schroll, Claire Jeter, Marta Levinska, Jelly Sear, and Jaden Ravensborg all had 1 for their 5. But I mean, you look at it and it's I said, I mean, they were right there in the matches. And, like I said, the first and second set kind of mirrored each other. Nobody got out to a crazier lead, like huge gap, like 7-8 points. The first set, I mean, it was back and forth like that, 1 or 2, I think both ways. And then ASU again making plays at the end, but they win at 25-22 in the first. And that was, I mean, you get a delay, you get off to that start, you're feeling good. And Stanford, you knew they were going to make adjustments, and they did. But second set again kind of started the same way. And then Stanford just made a few more plays at the end. The third set, ASU fought off a few set points, made a nice run to get it to 20. But Stanford, again, just had too much of a cushion. And then 25-21, like I said, in the fourth. But, yeah, I mean, look, for Mary Schroll, though, like I said, her 30 digs, guys, it was insane. It was just absolutely insane to see some of the plays she made. Like I said, it's a bummer going back and watching, knowing that they fell a little short to Stanford. But it is awesome just to see the talent, the skill, and some of the points that were saved from Mary Schroll. Just making plays like she did. So, look, hats off to this 2023-2024 edition of Sun Devil Women's Volleyball. Again, it's so awesome to get to cover this team, be around this team. I look forward to it. Next year, on to next year, right? On to victory, and just see where they can expand and how they grow from here. Because, yeah, Coach Van Neal, again, is talk about being analytical. You see what your players can do. He'll get the right types of players in, and yeah, I just it was awesome to cover this team again, getting to bring the players to you. I mean, Roberta Habello kicking it off, and then Mary Schroll and Claire Jeter, Jelly Sear, Marta Levinska, Maddie McLaughlin, and Coach Van Neal, and Presley Anderson as well, assistant coach, who, again, another local kid, again, started her career at Cal, finished at Baylor. But yeah, Presley Anderson too, and just to get you, again, trying to dive into this program and, again, support it going forward, because Coach Van Neal has one. Again, he's got a vision, and we saw it this year. And yeah, you want to improve from it. So it's you got to put the work in. Which, again, knowing what these players did this year, the players coming back, seeing it, you're right there. You're on the cusp. You're in a regional semifinal, and you're right there. So, man, look, hats off, forks up, the pitchfork lunch mojo to the women's volleyball team. But they had a phenomenal season. They grinded and they worked. Again, adjustment, and truly to never lose back-to-back matches this year, starting off 14-0, 12-0 out of conference, the first two conference games. And then, yes, their first loss was to Stanford, right? Starting off 14-0, but just building on it, not resting on it. And I mean, that loss to Stanford, you could have, very easily, and I said it, they could have dropped a few matches after that, but and then they go to Oregon and they lose to Oregon State, who wasn't ranked in 5. And then they beat number 5 at the time, Oregon, in 3. But yeah, I mean, to take care of business against schools, and yeah, it's, Coach said there's not a night off in this conference, and they did lose to Colorado in 3 in Boulder. Many didn't see that coming, but they did turn around and beat Colorado here. And it was funny. I thought about what, and Jeff Metcalf, again, had him on Tuesday, give him a shout out. He said, because Colorado, when they came here to Tempe, they were playing a mullet, and Colorado won the first set. And Jeff said, well, Colorado's now won 4 sets in a row against ASU. And then ASU went on to win the next 3 to take that match. And then they swept Utah this year, like I said, but beating the mountain schools. But, after losing to Stanford, though, going to Cal and beating Cal in 5, huge, absolutely huge. And and they just, like I said, never lost back-to-back matches this year and beat everybody except for Washington State. Again, like Jeff and I said, they only played once, but again, not an excuse. Washington State beat them in 5 on the road, and they won road games this year. So just one of those things. But I'm going to step aside real quick, and when we get back, we're going to dive into this women's hoops game and a little hockey as well too, and let you know what's going on there. But yeah, as we go to break, just some volleyball action for you.
Audio Jungle.
Has been nails today. Neil with the serve. Would have been handled. Mine into Baird.
Just a little tribute there to volleyball again. That was that's somewhat match against Stanford as well. Marta Levinsky saw there with the block before the break. Well, she had the kill, but again, you see the defense. That was against Oregon, and Oregon came in here and won after obviously ASU. ASU won in Eugene, like I mentioned, and yeah, they were number 5, and they took Oregon again. Like Jelly Sear said, maybe they were overlooking them because they lost to Oregon State in 5, but she said, "Okay, well, overlook us," and then all of a sudden it's 1-0, and we're in the second set, and they're rolling. So, yeah, I mean, it was a phenomenal year for volleyball, and yeah, just very, very stoked. Very, very stoked for again the season they had, getting to the Sweet 16, just absolutely trouncing. And I forgot to mention that before. I'll get to basketball in a sec, but trouncing Georgia and BYU, because it was all Georgia this, Georgia was 2-6 against top 25 teams. So ASU number 18, and yeah, so they again. And then BYU, very good team. They beat 3-0 right there on their court in Provo. And then, I mean, came back, played Friday, Saturday, and then came back Sunday, practiced Monday, headed out to Stanford, I think late Tuesday. Not late, but I mean, just Tuesday afternoon, which is, I think, a good idea. Get there, get settled. Teams practice on the court, Wednesday, get your practice there, and then obviously play last night. Although they had to wait, but the delay didn't affect them. It didn't seem like it affected them. So they were ready to go. They had their energy. And yeah, I mean, so anyway, but we're going to get to women's hoops. Like I said, they take on GCU, and they're tipping off in just about 10 minutes from now. And Natasha Adair, again, a team that's minus Ty Skinner, but has been healthy. Has been healthy, and they've done, again, just a solid job of mixing the lineup. And Jeff and I talked about Maggie Besselink, and again, her minutes have, no one said she's on a minutes restriction. I know, and Jeff said, I mean, there was 1 or 2 games she's getting a little bit of foul trouble, but yeah, I mean, just getting those basketball legs back and to see what she's done. And yeah, she can take threes, but like Jeff said, it's always nice to see her on the court. And to see what they've done on the court. Pardon me. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's very cool. And I love it. I mean, seeing Maggie Besselink on the court, like I said, down low, getting rebounds, but again, just increasing the minutes, as she can play, and that definitely, as we know, helps in the long run. It definitely helps in the long run. And I mean, yeah, for Natasha Adair, it's one of those things where you get her healthy. But I mean, Jaden Simmons. Um, I mean, Jaden Simmons has grown from last year, and like I said, that's the good news is Ty Skinner can come back. The bad news is obviously not this season, but again, wishing her a healthy and speedy recovery. But yeah, Jaden Simmons is averaging 12.9 points per game, leading the team, just over Jalen Brown, who's averaging 12.7, and Trayana Crisp averaging 11.7. But minutes wise, Jaden Simmons is averaging 34 minutes a game. So, but I mean, it's your point guard. She's delivering. And Jeff Metcalf again mentioned, shout out to him, because him and I did talk about it. I mean, they're a little without Ty Skinner. They're just a little light in the backcourt, guard wise. So, but when we look at it, um, what can, Jayla Robinson maybe start to do? And obviously Jaden Simmons, they said, but Trayana Crisp, again, getting a sophomore from Millennium, local player. But I mean, even the freshman Maria Rodakaj, who, is listed as a guard forward. So treasure hunt as well off the bench. So it's, and then, like I said, Jalen Brown, but yeah, it'll be interesting as the season goes on. But for today's game, I mean, we look at Grand Canyon, they are led in scoring. They are led in scoring. Sorry, almost by Trinity San Antonio, who's averaging 13.3 points a game, and then Tiara Brown is averaging 10, and Nadia Evans is averaging 9 points a game. But and Trinity is averaging 32 and a half minutes a game. And TR averaging about 29 and a half. And Nadia Evans averaging 33 minutes a game, just a eyelash over 33. So, but yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a Grand Canyon team that comes in at 6-2. They haven't lost on the road. So that is quite interesting. But yeah, I mean, for the Devils today, I mean, that's one thing that they have to yeah, that's one thing that, can they keep this 3-game winning streak going? And 7-2, like I said, they defend their home court well. And so if you have a chance, hopefully you're headed over there now and you can wrap up. Again, hockey playing tonight as well. Gonna get out of here, but hockey playing tonight as well, as they take on Dartmouth the first ever time. Like I said, they will play them. They are 11-3-2 overall, don't forget, and they've won one. But they're 10-2-0 at home. They're 1-1-2 on the road. And so tonight's game gets underway at 7 p.m. from Mullet Arena, and tomorrow's game at 5 from Mullet Arena, or tomorrow's game, Saturday, gets underway at 5 from Mullet Arena. So again, check it out, man. Go support Coach Powers and this team. They have been absolutely nails, and they're the 12th ranked team in the country. So, hey, man, everybody have a great weekend. I'm going to get out of here. Again, hope you enjoyed it. Again, big shout out to ASU Women's Volleyball, JJ Van Neal, the Pac-12 Coach of the Year. That's the Southwest Region Coach of the Year. Big ups to volleyball. The huge turnaround from last season, the excitement they brought us. Man, it was phenomenal to get to cover you and be around this program, and look forward to doing it more and having, maybe some off-season chats with Coach. See how, in the springtime, see how recruiting and all that good stuff is going. But, yeah, again, big ups to them. Thank you, ASU Women's Volleyball representing. Yes, forks up to you. Pitchfork lunch supporter. Pitchfork Lunch supporter forever. But yeah, big ups to you. Pitchfork Lunch mojo all the way. And yeah, phenomenal season. Thank you for the excitement and just the grit that you guys brought. But that you brought, and everything that you did. Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, phenomenal year. Marta Levinska, hats off on winning that AVCA Player of the Week, the season, the career that you had. Maddie McLaughlin, phenomenal. Mary Schroll, Shannon Shields, Jelly Sear, Jillian Neal, Roberta Habello. Thank you. Shania Cromartie, Coach Van Neal, your staff, everybody. Estella Zateca, you guys rocked it. You crushed it. Thank you for crushing it for Sun Devil Nation. It is definitely greatly appreciated. And yes, sorry, hit a wrong button there. But anyway, thank you to all. I'll see you Monday. Have a great weekend. Again, see if Stanford and Oregon, I'm rooting for the Pac-12 to win it all, because just, again, salt in the wound, but definitely love to see it. So a little bit of work to do, but have a great weekend. Get out to hoops today. Hockey, get out to hockey tonight and tomorrow night. And I'll see you back here on Monday recapping it all. But yes, on the way out, here is a little homage to Sun Devil Volleyball. I'll see you guys on Monday. And yes, as always, forks up.
I guess we don't. has been nails today. Neil with the serve. Really good handle. Line is a bear. Perfect pass.
Terry's three. Johnny Walker. Mashing up against control. His shot. Bruce score. They score. They tie the game up 2-2. Some drives out for Robbie Ryan. Her three right on the money. This is Taya Hansen for three. Other side of the rim with a pretty reverse. Wow. 5 seconds to go. Find Hawk. Hawk spins. It rolls off. And Arizona State wins it. Edward pulls off. And buries the puck. Takes the shot.